Theirs, not mine, which is a really helpful way to think about these emotions. It's kind of like we think these things are us, and they're really not. They're something that we have always experienced, but they're not. They feel like ours, but they're not always ours. One of our lovely members owns a ghee company in Portland. Isn't this wonderful? iloveghee.com, and she makes ghee on Wednesday evenings. And she said, so for some of the batches, your healings or our energy, all of ours, are imbued into the product. And so I wrote her back and I said, oh, well, let me put the website on in case anybody wants to buy any. And then she wrote this back. I only ship within the US, but it's always great to get energetic support from anywhere in the world. So if anyone is a ghee lover, go to iloveghee.com and you'll have good energy ghee. And some really lovely responses to feeling better, right? This is all about feeling better. I feel much less stressed about the issue I asked about last time. I enjoy feeling less consumed by it and more free. That's kind of like the whole point, right? Is just to feel freer. And someone else said, this was so beautiful. Thank you. I've been having profound changes in myself. I see my own defensiveness, right? It's like even to see something, sometimes it just means it's been loosened up. I see my reactions to what others say or do become so different. And that's what we're doing. We're cutting those or changing or clearing some of those automatic patterns. I see them and I'm compassionate in the way I view them. It's changed my outlook so I don't take things so personally. That's like fabulous. And even if I do, I seem to let it go faster than before. Yeah, I just love that. Thank you for sharing. I was reading someone else that said clients who say they were born feeling this way are usually right. I've never liked asking for help. I was born anxious. I've never had confidence. I was born not trusting anyone. So just take a moment and take a breath and think about if there's anything that you've ever said with those words. I was born this way. I never, I always. My parents said, even as a little girl or boy, I was. Just see if anything pops up into your mind. Lifelong patterns might be a sign that your pattern might not only be yours. They get passed down. A body code in the program, this is what it says about prenatal trapped emotions. Prenatal trapped emotions usually occur during the third trimester and are often absorbed emotions from the mother, but can also originate with the fetus. I've actually found occasionally they are absorbed from the father. So usually in my own smaller experience than theirs, it is third trimester and mother, but it can also be second or third trimester, and it can be mother or father, usually mother, but sometimes very strongly from the father. And then they just say about trapped emotions in general that it's a vibrational frequency generated by the organs and glands in response to stress and experience a negative thought or imbalance in the body. Negative emotions are generally influenced by what is happening in the moment, often in addition to trapped emotions and other imbalances already present. So they kind of grow on each other, like kind of like a little cells growing. An emotion can become trapped if it is overwhelming in some way, or if the normal emotional process of creating, experiencing, and letting go gets interrupted somehow. They say that a trapped emotion is a ball of vibrating energy about the size of your clenched fist. I see some smaller and some bigger. Trapped emotions can lodge anywhere in your body where they can exert a distorting force on the energy field, which can lead to all kinds of physical and emotional issues. So just imagine if you get something absorbed. So I like to think of it almost like a little battery pack, right? Oh, here's a battery pack of sadness that is somehow in my body and just kind of like beaming that emotion, even though I have nothing in my life to be sad about. So let's take a few breaths and go back to when you were in the womb. And I know some of us might not even know our parents. Like if you were adopted, you might not know your parents. But if you don't know any of these, just put question mark, and it will kind of direct our subconscious to go to it, even if our conscious mind doesn't know. So when you were in the womb, what do you know about your parents? Do you know about how old they were? You might have two columns, mother and father. They could be very different. Do you know where they lived? What occupation did they have? Did they both work or just one? Did they have other family members around? Did they already have a lot of other children or any other children? It can make a big difference if you're the first or the ninth. Somebody wrote in that they were the ninth. What was happening in the world at that time? Imagine all these COVID babies born. You know, if this baby was planned or wanted. And just take another moment and knowing whatever you do know of your parents, what would you guess their mindset, maybe one of some of their issues were at that time, because we kind of are who we are. Like if your mother is a warrior now, she probably was a warrior when you were in the womb. The technique is very simple, which is nice because we can do a quick healing on these. The technique is quite simple. You, in looking at what issue you are working on, because it'll change. Let's say if you're working on abundance, you might get a different answer to, do I have any prenatal trapped emotions, than if you were working on love relationships, right? So you can do in general for this, for clearing prenatal trapped emotions, either muscle test or take a look at this chart. And I have done this for those of you who have written in, and see if there's any of these that jump out that you would like to clear for yourself. The process for clearing a prenatal trapped emotion is usually 3 swipes down the governing meridian, but for clearing an inherited one, it's 10, and absorbed, I find, is 10, or it can even be more. So let's just do 10, just to be sure we get it all.